it take your breath away and you feel yourself suffocating? Does the pain weigh out the pride and you look for a place to hide? Did someone break your heart inside? You're in room.
So, in your opinion, is bullying a big issue in high school?
I don't think it occurs very often, but when it occurs, it's always a big issue. Typically, when we hear about bullying, it's become a very emotional issue for at least one person, and that by itself makes it a big issue. Um, we always treat bullying as what is the perception of the victims and what's the feeling of the victim, how do they feel about it. It doesn't make a difference whether a person is joking around or not joking around. It's a bad thing if somebody feels bad about themselves because of what's going on.
Okay, and have there been any serious bullying cases in Millburn?
It's every time we talk about bullying issue, it's serious to the victim. Um, in terms of have there been any long-term effects that we can see? No, there has not. And some of the laws that came by a couple of years ago were because of course the Rutgers student that committed suicide. That's obviously a very big negative of bullying. We haven't seen anything remotely close to that, but I don't know deep down how long somebody is scarred or somebody is hurt and just feels bad. That to me is serious enough for us to confront bullying.
And are you aware of any cyberbullying that goes on with high schoolers?
We definitely find out about some cyberbullying. There's no question about Facebook posts, sometimes just emails. People say things or communicate things to each other electronically these days quite a bit. So we definitely have our share of cases.
Physical violence, verbal bullying, or cyberbullying? In your opinion, what is the worst?
Well, I will say physical. It's a tough choice, but I will say physical bullying because there's an immediate effect. The provocation I'm going to add is there's no question that other types of bullying, just verbal bullying, can lead to physical problems. Whether it's just an ulcer, whether, as we talked about in previous, God forbid, a suicide type of thing. That's horrific too, but physically, that's an immediate effect.
Okay, and for students who get bullied, can you give any advice?
Well, we do think that maybe initially, as soon as it happens, what we like to say is maybe confront the bully themselves. Maybe they don't realize what the effects are. That's not a very easy thing to do. Sometimes you can't. Very often, you're in a situation where it's somebody older, bigger than you, making comments, and it's very difficult to say something. In smaller cases, a person may honestly think they're just joking and fooling around, and if that's the case, you can say, I don't take this very well, please stop. If that doesn't work, then if it's a school setting, we hope that they would come to one of the administrators or a teacher, somebody they trust, and say, what do you think we should do? We often will intervene, and sometimes our intervention is just sit down with the bully and say, do you understand what you're doing? If we have to speak to you again, it's going to be more than just a conversation about this.
In my opinion, I feel like cyberbullying is the worst because you really have no idea who you're dealing with, and cyberbullying can happen all the time, and it's just a hard thing to overcome because also like the person who's bullying you online might be they might be posting it for everyone to see, and it will so like really becomes a bad situation, things like that.
I think physical violence obviously has the most tangible toll on a person, but I think probably verbal and cyber are the worst because they leave a lasting impact emotionally and psychologically.
Cyber, just because it's the only one that doesn't take place like right there and you don't exactly know who this person is. Like physical bullying, it's just okay, the person hurt you, you can recover from that easily. Mental's probably kind of worse. It'll make you feel worse about yourself, but I mean you can just stay away from the people who do it. But cyberbullying, it's really just those people are just cowards. They hide behind a username and you don't even know who they are.
I'll probably say physical, because like the person's like right there, like giving you the pain. Like other types of bullying is like different, it's like emotional, but this is physical, and like I feel physical pain is worse than like any other type of pain.
I think physical and verbal could be like kind of the same thing. Verbal can be extremely painful, even if it's not physical, but I don't know, I think verbal could be considered the worst one.
Beat him up.
First, I would ask them nicely to stop, and if they still give me a hard time, then I'll obviously go to someone higher, like maybe a teacher or a parent or maybe a guidance counselor, and ask for advice or possibly have them intervene to let the person know that what they're doing is wrong.
And if you saw someone being bullied, what would you do?
Stand up for them.
Yeah, don't like act very fast, no question, don't even hesitate. Just like even if he's not my friend, just help him as much as I can.
There's always like the bully and the victim and the bystander, and you never want to be the bystander.
If your friend was bullying someone, what would you do?
Well, definitely get him to stop because bullying is just not the right thing to do. It's never right to put down somebody else to make yourself feel better. So if someone I knew and was friends with was being a bully, I'd probably not only tell him to stop, but I probably wouldn't hang out with him at least for a while.
I would definitely approach the friend and tell them like that what they're doing isn't right and like to look at how it's affecting the other person. And I think that like if my words aren't influential enough, then I would probably try to get like one or two other friends involved, not to gang up on them, but just to like talk to them and make them and let them like be aware of how they're making the other person feel.
And I think it's hard with friends because you never want to be that person who tells your friend they're being a bully because you could potentially lose a friend. But I think if it's to a harmful extent, it needs to be ended.
Are you happy that both schools in this area have a zero bullying tolerance?
Of course. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
21 guns, lay down your arms, give up the fight. 21 guns, throw